and welcome to Psalmic Saturday here at Ariel's Corner. This is Ariel Gatoga, and we are streaming live on YouTube. Moderating today on YouTube are the lovely Jason and the lovely Honeypaw. Thank you so much, moderators, and thank you so much to everybody for joining us today for the Psalm Spell du jour. We have a premiere at 11 a.m., about 43 minutes from now. So I hope you can join us for that. I've connected it to the stream, so if you just hang out throughout the exit music, it will dump you into a link to get right to that premiere, and I hope you join us for that. The name of that premiere is something, Unleashing Your Secret Powers, and it's based on Psalm number 8. Our website is located at arielscorner.com, arielscorner.com. We have all kinds of cool stuff there. We have a bunch of Psalm resources there. You can just hover over the Psalm Magic link, or you can actually click on that Psalm Magic link, and it's got its own page too. There's which is Psalter. There's index of subjects. There's different categories of Psalms. All kinds of cool stuff. Plus, we have our free booklet on how to work Psalm Magic, and you can get that by going to arielgatoga.com/psalmbook, arielgatoga.com/psalmbook. Tomorrow we'll be back for a live stream lecture at 10:15 a.m. Pacific, and then we're off on Monday and Tuesday. We have a chat thread that is active on this stream. If you'd like to chat amongst yourselves, please avail yourself to that. And if you happen to have any questions for me, you can put them right in the chat thread. Provided I'm not going too late, I will answer any questions at the end of the stream. Otherwise, I'll take them on our Discord server and or our private Facebook group. And when you're on our website, arielscorner.com, you can find links to both our Discord server and our private Facebook group, along with all of our other social media links in the footer of every page on that website. Our shop is located at arielscornershop.com, arielscornershop.com. And if you'd also like to give a donation to our channel, you can do that by going to paypal.me/arielgatoga, paypal.me/arielgatoga. We also have on YouTube, you can use a super sticker or super chat if you're live in the chat thread, or you could use a super thanks if you're watching on a restream and you feel like giving a donation. We do appreciate your support, and we appreciate you for being here today. I think I said it all. Let's get going. Let's get going, Ariel. Okay. Today we are working Psalm 9. In Psalm Magic, some of the traditional uses for Psalm 9 are to overcome evil, to reduce the power of any enemy, to reverse curses and hexes, and for help in court cases. And it's also used to overcome oppression. And I would like to use it to overcome oppression today. Now remember, oppression can come from people, from circumstances, and from ourselves. So if you're feeling oppressed in any way, Psalm number 9 is a wonderful psalm to come to for that. And it's also been used it's also been used throughout history to overcome political oppression. So people who are being oppressed by governments and political figures and corrupt politicians and things like that. So that's very interesting as well. The way we work Psalm Magic is simple, easy, and effective. We take the psalm that we are working and we speak it out loud all the way through once without stopping. And then we go back through that same psalm and we consider each verse in turn. We search for those hidden meanings within each verse. We call them occult meanings because they are hidden. Those are viewed frequently as magic seeds. And those magic seeds need to be planted in fertile ground in order for them to take root. And the fertile ground is in our minds. And how do you plant those seeds? By doing just that, by looking for them, contemplating them, and doing your best to apply what you find to whatever the situation is that you brought to the psalm. That is how you plant those seeds. And when you plant those seeds into the fertile ground of your mind, they take root, they grow, they blossom forth, and then they bear fruit after their kind. And that is exactly what you and I are going to do together right now with Psalm number 9. Here we go. I will praise thee, O Lord, with my whole heart. I will show forth all thy marvelous works. I will be glad and rejoice in thee. I will sing praise to thy name, O thou most high. When mine enemies are turned back, they shall fall and perish at thy presence. For thou hast maintained my right and my cause. Thou sattest in the throne, judging right. Thou hast rebuked the heathen. Thou hast destroyed the wicked. Thou hast put out their name for ever and ever. O thou enemy, destructions are come to a perpetual end, and thou hast destroyed cities. Their memorial is perished with them. But the Lord shall endure forever. He hath prepared his throne for judgment, and he shall judge the world in righteousness. He shall minister judgment to the people in uprightness. The Lord will also be a refuge for the oppressed, a refuge in times of trouble. And they that know thy name will put their trust in thee, for thou, Lord, hast not forsaken them that seek thee. Sing praises to the Lord which dwelleth in Zion. Sing praises to the Lord which dwelleth in Zion. Declare among the people his doings. When he maketh inquisition for blood, he remembereth them. He forgetteth not the cry of the humble. Have mercy upon me, O Lord. Consider my trouble which I suffer of them that hate me. Thou that liftest me up from the gates of death, that I may show forth all thy praise in the gates of the daughter of Zion. I will rejoice in thy salvation. The heathen are sunk down in the pit that they made. In the net which they hid is their own foot taken. The Lord is known by the judgment which he executeth. The wicked is snared in the work of his own hands. Higayon Selah. Higayon Selah. The wicked shall be turned into hell, and all the nations that forget God. For the needy shall not always be forgotten. The expectation of the poor shall not perish forever. Arise, O Lord, let not men prevail. Let the heathen be judged in thy sight. Put them in fear, O Lord, that the nations may know themselves to be but men. It's fairly common to believe that Psalms 9 and 10 were originally a single psalm, and frequently they are treated as a single psalm. But in psalm magic, we don't usually do that. We let them each have their own autonomy. It starts out with praise. This appears to be a psalm of thanksgiving, and then it makes a little bit of a turn. And first and foremost, when we're working psalm magic, we orient ourselves to the idea of what the Lord actually is. Because it's really easy for people praying the Psalms to put themselves in the point of view that there's some Lord out there that's going to come rescue us if we're good enough. If we do the right things, and if it's having a good day, it's going to come and help us. And that's not a powerful posture to start a spell. What we want instead is to orient ourselves to the truth of what the Lord represents. The Lord is a symbol, and it's the symbol of that which is the one power. And it's important that we do that each and every time, that we take a moment and orient ourselves to the one power, the one source, the one force in all the universe. And there is none other. And when we understand that, when we accept that, then we realize that this is why psalm magic is powerful and effective, because there's nothing that can oppose this power, because there is nothing but this power. I will praise thee, O Lord, with my whole heart. I will show forth all thy marvelous works. So when you praise with your whole heart in the Psalms, the heart represents the deep mind. It represents the habitual mind, such as I know that by heart. I can play that by heart. That means that you are habituated to it. So I will praise thee, O Lord, with my whole heart means that I'm going to habituate myself to praising the Lord. Now, to praise the Lord, to praise this force, means that we need to praise that which is good. Just like you need an object for your affection, you need an object for your praise. Otherwise, it's just a theoretical thing that you're doing. It's just some sort of exercise. But what are you grateful for? What are you thankful for? Where does the good show up in your life? And that's what you want to be able to do habitually, is to see that which is good. Now, that's not to say that you're not going to also take into account that which needs healing and that which, is not good. But we tend to, in this world, be taught to look only at the world through the eyes of that which isn't working. And we disregard things that are working. And we want to habituate ourselves to the idea that things do work out for us and give those praise. I will show forth thy marvelous works. You will show forth the marvelous works. You'll make sure that you demonstrate the marvelous works. What are the marvelous works of the Lord? Everything that's good. Where does good show up in your life? And how can you express good in your life? When you make choices in each and every moment, is the habit to make the choices to be compassionate or to judge? Are your choices automatically to find common ground or to find division? Is it to relax or is it to tense? Is it to judge or is it to forgive? I will be glad and rejoice in thee. I will sing praises to thy name, O thou Most High. So the Most High is a title given to the Lord to remind us that there is only one, that there is nothing but this. It's not my Lord is better than your Lord. Our God is more powerful than yours. That's not what this is. This is all gods are one. There is nothing but this. And to sing praises unto this force's name means to sing praises to the qualities of this force, the nature of this force. And we go through many qualities, but there are infinite names of God. There are infinite qualities. And to sing praises means to disturb your experience. To sing is to disturb. I know that sounds funny, but in the Psalms, when you're singing, it means that you're making noise. And to make noise doesn't just mean to make physical noise, it means to make psychic noise. It means to make a psychic disturbance. And the psychic disturbance is to upset that which isn't working. And in this case, if it's oppression, we are disturbing the oppression by singing in our minds, with our auras, with our intentions, to sing praises unto the qualities of the infinite. When mine enemies are turned back, they shall fall and perish at thy presence. So when we turn this key of singing praises to the qualities of that which is the one and only force in the universe, what that does is it allows for the oppression in our lives to be turned back and to be destroyed by its own oppression. The oppression oppresses itself. For thou hast maintained my right and my cause. Thou sattest in the throne judging right. And that's what the infinite does. This is another one of those psalms that puts the infinite in a setting of being sitting on its throne as a judge in a legal setting. So, but we do want the infinite's judgment on everything, because the infinite only sees the truth. And so it only looks as though the infinite is judging against oppression from the point of view of the oppressor. Because what's happening is the infinite's only judging through righteousness and only sees that and experiences that which it created. And it didn't create oppression. The infinite doesn't will for oppression. So therefore, when we're singing praises unto the infinite, we are turning that key so that we experience the truth of what the righteous judgment of this source is, the righteous judgment of what this source is. And that causes everything that doesn't look like the righteous judgment of this source to fall away, to be destroyed. And we always say it's very similar to turning on a light in a dark room. The darkness is destroyed by the light, but not because the light is seeking to destroy the darkness. It's just showing that the darkness doesn't exist in its presence. Thou hast rebuked the heathen. Thou hast destroyed the wicked. Thou hast put out their name forever and ever. And from our point of view here, it can seem like that. It can seem like the infinite's really mad at these oppressors. The infinite's really angry and is punishing the bad behavior. But that's just because the bad behavior and the oppression is coming back on the person. It's coming back on the person because that's what happens. Life is a game of boomerangs. What we throw out comes back to us. What we throw out comes back to us. Now, when we turn the light on and we say only righteousness shall prevail, everything that doesn't look like that righteousness has to go back into the native nothingness from whence it came. And it has to do that by going back into its source. And remember, ultimately, its source is nothing. Its source is nothing. There is no source of evil. There is no source of oppression. And so when we turn the key of this psalm to get the oppression to be healed, ultimately what we're discovering is that oppression never really existed from the point of Zion, from the point of view of Zion, or from the point of view of this level of consciousness. But in our experiences, it looks like the oppression is being destroyed and that the oppressors are being destroyed. O thou enemy, destructions are come to... Oh, did I do that? Yes. O thou enemy, destructions are come to a perpetual end, and thou hast destroyed cities, their memorial is perished with them. This is so important because not only does the infinite make everything right again, it blots out the memory of it. It blots out the memory of it. You don't even remember that you were oppressed anymore. It's such a vague, distant memory. And that's what we want to get to. And when we allow this spell to work and things are made right again in our lives, it's up to us to toe that line and not talk about, remember how bad it was? Remember how they mistreated me? Yeah, but they're not mistreating you anymore. That's been healed. So we don't want to recreate it. We want to allow the infinite to blot the memory of it from us. And then we stay with that. We stay with that. And we stay with doing what? Singing praises unto the infinite. Because we want to be perpetually a disturbance to oppressors. That we want to habitually be a disturbance to anything that's unlike the truth. But the Lord shall endure forever. He hath prepared his throne for judgment. So when the Lord endures forever, it's a reminder that the Lord exists only in the present moment. The Lord does not exist in the future or in the past because those don't exist in Zion or in this higher state of consciousness. The past and the future are constructs of the ego consciousness, of the ego mind. And the ego mind's basic function is to keep us stuck in ruminating over the past and the future so that we don't have our power in the present moment. So the Lord shall endure forever. The Lord is here now. He hath prepared his throne for judgment. And that's simply reiterating that the infinite only sees the truth. And when you go to the infinite, you do it in the present moment and you allow it to heal whatever the situation is. And then your job is to stay in the present moment and not re-enter those old habits of living in the past or living in the future. And also, as it said before, not recreating the problems that have already been solved. And he shall judge the world in righteousness. He shall minister judgment to the people in uprightness. And that's the whole point of this psalm, is that once we are connecting to the righteousness of this power, and righteousness means right-mindedness, healthy thinking, sanity, peace of mind. So when we connect with this sanity, with this right-mindedness, with this healthy thinking, with this peace of mind, it permeates every aspect of our consciousness. And anything that doesn't look like that is destroyed from the point of view of problems. Just like the darkness is, quote, destroyed when you turn the light on. And that's the whole point of this psalm, or any psalm, is to connect with that vibration that is the infinite, or what they call the Lord, so that the Lord's judgment prevails. And the Lord's judgment is that you be happy. That's the will of God, is that you be happy, that you be safe, that you be at peace. And the will of the infinite is that that is true for everybody. And that all of these illusions of oppression and darkness be something that we awaken from and that we no longer perpetuate. The Lord also will be a refuge for the oppressed, a refuge in times of trouble. So it's telling you what to do when you're feeling that you are unsafe, when you are feeling oppressed, when you are feeling in trouble. You go to your refuge. You go to where you are safe, and you are safe when you call upon this power, because this power's will is for your safety. Will is for your happiness. And they that know thy name will put their trust in thee, for thou, Lord, hast not forsaken them that seek thee. So when you know the secret, when you know this secret, you know where to go and you know what to do, and that you no longer try to fix things yourself. You no longer try to make yourself safe all by yourself, because your ways are very limited. Your ways of, when you think in terms of only what your surface mind and your ego understand, it only knows what it already knows. But the infinite knows everything. The infinite has infinite possibilities that you don't understand. So when you go to the infinite for your safety can show up in all kinds of ways that you couldn't have come up with on your own. So this is, it says, and they that know thy name will put their trust in thee. Once you know the name, the nature of the infinite, where else are you going to go? Why would you go anywhere but the source of all that is? Why would you even consider that? The idea that there could be something separate from the source of all that is why we are unsafe or feel unsafe in this world, is because we live in this world that believes that it's separate from this source. This whole world is a projection of unsafety or lack of safety, of fear, based on the idea that we all believe that we're separate from this source. So once you know the name of God, once you understand the qualities of the infinite, you realize that you're always safe. But you can't create that safety for yourself based on your own past learning. You have to go outside of the thought system that is based on fear to find that safety. And that's what we do when we seek our refuge in the infinite. For thou, Lord, hast not forsaken them that seek thee. Of course not. When you seek the infinite, you're seeking truth. You're seeking reality. You're seeking sanity. You're seeking healthiness. You're seeking all of that which is real. And when you go to that which is real, everything that is false is shined away in its presence. Sing praises to the Lord which dwelleth in Zion. Declare among the people his doings. Remember in the Psalms that people represent your own thoughts. So when you do this, when you go to Zion, and remember what Zion is the meeting place between you and the infinite. It's where the tabernacle is. It's where it's where the temple is. In Zion, you have to climb. That's you climbing up, meaning rising to the best of your ability in mind, in consciousness, so that you can meet this infinite intelligence. Right? Without climbing Zion, it's as if you're saying, well, I want to keep all of my false beliefs. I want to hate them, and I want to hate myself, and I want to just indulge in all of these false beliefs. And can you fix it for me? Right? That's not climbing Zion. So you got to climb up that hill to get to the tabernacle. You must rise in consciousness to the best of your ability, and then the infinite will do the rest for you. So when it says, sing praises to the Lord which dwelleth in Zion, that means that you're going to use the idea of singing, and you can sing with your physical vocal cords. That is absolutely fine. But let's think in terms of what singing means in regards to vibrating, raising your vibrations. When you sing praises to the Lord which dwelleth in Zion, you are doing what you can to raise your vibrations. And you do that by praising those qualities of the infinite, or the names of God. And then it says, declare among the people his doings. Remind your thoughts, remind your doubting thoughts what you're up to. Don't let those doubting thoughts bring you back down into those ego realms. Re-educate your own thoughts and be disciplined with your mind. When he maketh inquisition for blood, he remembereth them. He forgetteth not the cry of the humble. This idea that the infinite is going to destroy your enemies, or kill your enemies, or punish your enemies, because he's not forgetting the cry of the humble, is a very dramatic, ancient image. And it's a powerful one, and it's a fabulous one to use. But understand what that means. It's from the point of view of the darkness, it's so scary when the light comes on. So it seems like there's this big battle, and that the light is just going after the darkness and kicking its ass. But in reality, that's not what's happening. And that's not what's happening here either. But it can seem like that because it looks as though your oppressors are getting punished because everything is righting itself again. But the idea is not that the infinite's going to punish its own creation. It's not the infinite's not going to punish its own divine child. But it can seem like that from your point of view when it looks as though the oppression ends. It looks as though the infinite's punishing them, killing them, or whatever. Have mercy upon me, O Lord. Consider my trouble, which I suffer of them that hate me. Thou that liftest me up from the gates of death. So to have mercy means, in the Psalms, for us, mercy always means the solving of the problem, the answering of the prayer, the fulfillment of the goal, whatever you've brought to the Psalm, whatever it is, good, bad, or indifferent, whatever you've brought to this Psalm to get help with is mercy. Means that it's solved. It's taken care of. So have mercy upon me, O Lord. Consider my trouble, which I suffer of them that hate me. Very clear. This is your petition. This is what's going on. This is what they're doing, and I want out of it. I want this handled. Now, again, if it's not another person that you're feeling oppressed by, if it's a situation, that's fine too. If it's your own ego thoughts that are oppressing you, that's fine too. Whatever the oppression is, you're just laying it out on the table and saying, thou that liftest me up from the gates of death. The gates of death are what you're experiencing in regards to, if I don't get this problem solved, I may as well die. That's how serious it seems to you. Now, it may not be that. It may not be that severe in reality, but remember the Psalms are like the libretto of a tragic opera. So it's important that it's important that you get into it. There's a whole emotional connection with your issue that is very helpful. So whatever it is, it's like, I'm dying. When we say that, oh, I'm just dying. I'm just dying. Well, we're not technically dying, but it feels like we're at the gates of death. That I may show forth all thy praise in the gates of the daughter of Zion. I will rejoice in thy salvation. So take me from the gates of one place into the gates of the other place. From the gates of death to the gates of the daughter of Zion. Now, the daughter of Zion is a poetic name for Jerusalem, the city. So the Jerusalem, the city, the daughter of Zion, is the totality of the infinite's property. So we want to be in the daughter of Zion, the gates of the daughter of Zion, where we are 100% taken care of, all of our needs are met, we're happy, things are going well. When we're going into the gates of death, that's simply a poetic symbol of, I'd rather do things myself. I'd rather think my own thoughts. I'm separate from the infinite. I'm going to do ego things. But you can't do both at the same time. You're either in the gates of death, ego, or you're in the gates of the daughter of Zion, spirit. You can't do both, one or the other. You can't go east and west at the same time. So we're being clear about that. I don't want to be in the gates of death. I want to be in the gates of the daughter of Zion. I want to be in your city. I want to be in your town, not in my town, not in the town of darkness. I want to be in the town of light. The heathen are sunk down in the pit that they made, and the net which they hid is their own foot taken. Evil always destroys itself, no matter what it seems like, no matter how long it seems. And there has never been a plague that didn't end. There has never been a dictator that ultimately won. There's never been any big problem that ultimately won out. Everything always works itself out. Now, we're coming to the Psalms because we want it to work out now. We don't want to wait for things to sort themselves out in time. We want to be in timelessness. We want to be in the gates of the daughter of Zion, which is the present moment. And we want this taken care of now, which is our right, by the way. That's our right. The infinite's not doing us a favor. The infinite is happy when we claim our birthright, when we claim our right to have these things sorted out for us right now. The infinite's happy about that. The infinite wants that for us. But remember how things work. We have to make the first move. We can't just say, well, why doesn't it just take care of it for us? Why doesn't the infinite just take care of everything for us? Why do we have to go through this? Because we have the right to use our minds any way we want to. That's why. We have the right to do anything we want with our minds. And if we don't discipline our minds and we go along with the zeitgeist, we go along with status quo, and we believe in all of these false concepts, we get what we get. And so then when we start getting what we get and we don't like it, the good news about that is that it's a reminder to us that we can go back to the source and let everything be taken care of for us. And then the trick there is once we get the problem solved, we learn to stay there rather than going back to our old ways and then having to be rescued. And then we go back to our old ways and then we have to be rescued. Once we're rescued from the problem, we learn how to stay there so that when things come up in the future, we take care of them before they reach a crisis. And again, we're not saying it's your fault. Boy, I got to be careful that we say this because people really misunderstand that. And they say, oh, I get it. It's my fault. Or, oh, you're blaming the victim. No, it's not your fault that you're in this. It's that you're like everybody else. It's not your fault that you were raised to not know how your mind worked. It's not your fault that you've been taught by generations of habitual learning that things work in a way that they don't really work. It's not your fault, but once you know different, then you can do different. Once you know better, you can do better. And that's what you're learning how to do. And you're going to be ahead of the pack now because you're learning how to use your mind in a way that most people never know. The Lord is known by the judgment which he executeth. Isn't that great? It's the same idea of the name of God means the nature of spirit, the nature of the infinite. You know it's God based on what God does. And the judgment that God executes is the nature of God. And so when you go to this power, when you go to this force with an issue and the issue gets solved, you know you went to the source. You know that because you get success. You know the infinite by its effects. And Jesus had something similar. By their works are they known, right? The fruits of a tree show you what kind of tree it came from. The judgments of the infinite are how you know that the infinite's there. You know it because it works. The wicked is snared in the work of his own hands. Higion Selah. Okay, so the wicked, anything that is not of the infinite, any part of this illusion that is oppressing you, is going to be taken care of by its own undoing. The more you have a hands-off approach and you don't try to help things along, it'll help itself along. And you've seen it again and again in life. People end up being their own worst enemy. The serial killers eventually screw up, and because they get so arrogant about what they do, they get caught, right? They boast about whatever it is they're doing. So whatever it is that's oppressing you, it's going to get itself snared in its own net. And if you have a hands-off approach, if you detach from it and you turn your attention on the infinite, it helps that happen much quicker because you're not helping them delay. So hands off, let it destroy itself. Whatever the problem happens to be, even if it doesn't have anything to do with another person, it will still resolve itself. Higion, Selah. Selah means to pause. They're both musical terms. Selah means to just pause. And so when you have Selah in a psalm, it's usually a reminder that this last verse was important. So you want to think about that. Higion means probably, we don't know for sure, but it seems obvious to me that it means allow the harpist to play. Allow that harpist to play while we consider this. Let there be a musical interlude. So it's even longer of a Selah than a normal Selah. So it's that bardic imagery when the bard is telling a story or speaking a poem while playing the harp. When it stops for a minute to let that sink in, just let that harp keep playing. Let that meditation keep moving. The wicked shall be turned into hell, and all the nations that forget God. Now, hell, in this sense, when hell is mentioned in the Psalms, it's Sheol. And that's native nothingness. It's just nothing. So the wicked will return to the native nothingness from whence it came. And it's not the people's souls that are going to go to hell, because souls don't go there, because souls aren't nothing. Souls are created by the infinite. But their behavior and everything that affects their behavior will be returned to the native nothingness from whence it came. So whatever the problem is, no matter what it is, it's going to disappear. It's going to disintegrate. It's going to evaporate. That's going to hell. For the needy shall not always be forgotten, and the expectation of the poor shall not perish forever. So your needs aren't ever forgotten. Whatever your needs are, they're not forgotten. And the poor will not perish forever. So whatever you're going through, even if you didn't come to the psalm, it would eventually resolve one way or another. But now we are recognizing that we don't have to wait. We don't have to wait for time to sort this out. We went right straight to the source. And since we're now in the present moment where all power is in Zion, it's handled now. It's already handled. Because we've used our mind in a very powerful way. We've said enough. I'm not trying to fix this myself. I'm not trying to deal with this myself. I'm going straight to source. And source says, okay, well, now that you've used your free will to come to source to get this taken care of, let me take care of it for you. And we are taking care of it. We are co-creators in this. So you will not perish forever. You will not be forgotten. And you wouldn't be anyway, but now it's especially true because it's already been taken care of. Arise, O Lord, let not man prevail. Let the heathen be judged in thy sight. When we say arise, O Lord, the Lord wasn't sleeping, but it appears as though the Lord was sleeping, because until we invoke, there is no response. Because if there's a response before an invocation, then there is no free will. It's an attack. We're just automatons. We're just robots. You do what I say. You do what I say. That's not how it works. The infinite's given us free will. So it seems to be dormant. But remember, there's that line in the Bible, before you call, I shall answer. That just means that there's always an answer to any problem. There's a solution to any problem. And once you call, that answer will reveal itself to you. It's all ready for you. It's sitting there ready for you. At the creation of any problem, it's the nature of things that the solution is created at the moment that the problem is created. Because the problem ultimately doesn't exist. In the infinite's mind, there are no problems. But when we have problems in our world, automatically the solutions to those problems are created. It's just part of the nature of things. It's just how things work here. That's the mercy of the infinite. So when we call, when we invoke, oh my gosh, we got to get going. Okay. Put them in fear, O Lord, that the nations may know themselves to be but men, Selah. So to put them in fear means to cast them out, to cast out this oppression. To cast out this oppression. And the nations are the overarching thought forms in our mind, so that all of our thought forms are going to know that when it says they are but men, that these oppressions are nothing but illusions. They're nothing but ego structures, and the infinite has this. So you just keep coming back to the same psalm each and every day, and once you get this sense that all is well, you'll get the sense of peace and certainty about the situation. Then you know your spell is cast, and then you can stop working it and go on to something else. Thank you so much for spending some time with me today. Until next time, blessed be. I'm going to end this right now so that we're not having two streams at once, and we'll see you over on that